States of water. In this video, scientists will comprehend how water changes state by gaining and losing energy. To begin, we should probably talk about what states are. In elementary school, you may have learned about solids, liquids, and gases. All matter can be these different states. Solid objects are ones that have a defined shape. You can't change shape by pouring them or squeezing them. They have a defined shape and volume. Liquids have a defined volume. It means it doesn't change size, but they can change shape. I can pour water into different size cups, and the water will take the shape of that cup. Finally, gas. Gas is a state that can change volume and size. I can make gases larger or smaller, and they take up different amounts of room. When it comes to water, we're used to talking about solid water as ice. Liquid water is just referred to as water, and then gaseous water, or water that is a gas, is referred to as water vapor. So again, if I talk about ice, I'm talking about a solid. If I'm talking about water, it's a liquid, and water vapor is a gas. Next, it's important to know what water is made out of. Simply, water is made out of molecules. In the picture on the right, imagine I could zoom in on a glass of water. What you would see are billions and trillions of these water molecules. The water you drink is just molecules. Molecules are the tiny units of a substance that still have the properties of that substance. So a water molecule is the smallest unit that is still water. Now maybe you've heard of water referred to as H2O. Here you can actually see those H2s and the O. The O is this atom, and these are the two H's, H2O. This molecule is water. A whole bunch of molecules make that glass of water that you had to drink. Now, water molecules change how they move depending on their state. Water molecules that are in ice, water, and water vapor behave very differently. And it has to do with how much energy they have. So let's start way down here in ice. Water that is in the form of ice has very little energy. We refer to that as being cold. So water that is cold has very little energy. They don't move very much. They stay in a solid form. As you start to add energy, the molecules start to move more. So solid ice, the molecules don't move. They have a solid shape. As we give water energy, those molecules start to move around. They sort of slide over each other. And that's what allows water to sort of pour and move about and spill. The molecules have enough energy to move over each other. As I add more and more energy, those molecules start moving faster and faster and faster and faster until they shoot apart from each other and become a gas. So water vapor is those water molecules with a whole bunch of energy. Again, ice has the least amount of energy. Gas has the most energy. Now, something cool about all matter is that you can change its state. Let's start down here with ice. Ice, again, has the least amount of energy. As I give ice more energy, or as the ice gains energy, it begins to melt. Solid ice turns into liquid water. Imagine putting an ice cube out in the sun. The sun is giving the ice energy, and it begins to melt. What happens if I give water more energy? Well, imagine you take a pot of water and you put it on the stove. As that water gains energy, it'll start going through evaporation. When it has enough energy, it'll turn into a gas. Maybe you've noticed that a pot of water, if you leave it on the stove, the level of water gets lower and lower. Where'd that water go? Well, the water that was in the pot turned into a gas. One really important thing, though, is to know that water vapor is invisible. Gases cannot be seen. So when you see steam coming off of a pot, you cannot actually see water vapor. The steam coming off of a pot is actually water. It's tiny drops. But near those drops or near that steam is going to be a lot of water vapor. So again, ice, very little energy. It stays as a solid. As ice gains energy, it becomes a liquid as water. As water gains more energy, eventually it'll turn into a gas. But we can do the opposite too. What if water vapor starts to cool down? Or what if it loses energy? Well, then water vapor turns back into water. A gas turns back into a liquid. Or similarly, what happens if I take water and get it really cold? You've experienced this if you've ever put water in your freezer. As that water loses energy, it starts to freeze. Liquid water loses energy and becomes solid again, or becomes ice. Here's your key takeaways. Water can be in 3 different states. Water can be a solid, a liquid, or a gas. Water is also made out of molecules. And water can change state by gaining or losing energy.